Well, meanwhile, I mean, and as we tell the story, the Ghana Police Service has, of course, intensified security at the passport office. And this happened after we told you about what happened yesterday, that NPP activists stormed the premises and they, in an alleged takeover action. Joseph was still the man who went there. You went there again this morning.
Yes.
What had changed?
The change now is that, I mean, obviously, when we went there the first time yesterday, we had these party guys being stationed over there and trying to control the situation. But this time around, just like when we were about leaving yesterday, you had the police take over the place. This time, it was the same thing happening. In fact, when I arrived there, the Greater Accra Regional Public Relations Officer for the police, ASP Fiatinge herself, she was positioned there trying to pick some information about what transpired over there. But I spoke to Alexander Grant in Trakwa. He is the director of passports. Yes, okay. Just to ask how activities are ongoing there.
Okay, we can take a watch. We can watch him right now.
It's we are taking it as any usual day. The police are here to make sure that nobody comes here to maybe cause any mayhem or misbehave here. So we feel more comfortable that even the police are here. But the fact of the matter is that since we came here this morning, we haven't had any incident with anybody. And so we think the situation is calm and we are doing our work as usual.
How many realized that work was ongoing as usual? Is that a case in the other offices across the country?
Well, I haven't received any reports of any invasion in any of the regional offices apart from the Greater Accra Passport Application Center. That is the Tema station. And I'm fully informed that the police have deployed their personnel there, so we are in control.
When did that happen?
This morning, the police sent some personnel there. The DSP Abbas and ASP Fatinge were here to confirm that they were there, and the personnel have been positioned as strategic positions, and even the crowd control there is being manned by the police officers now.
That is Alexander Intrakwa, Director of Passports there, speaking to Joseph, and Joseph is here, of course. Joseph, he sounds confident that the police is able to protect them at this point, but did you get the sense that the other staff members were okay with the situation? Were they okay, and are they able to work freely?
They seemed okay and work was progressing. I mean, yesterday when we arrived, right from when even a staircase that you use through over to Mr. Intrakwa's office, there are various activities that are going. So you go first, you wait downstairs, you climb up, they process your documents, you go upstairs to his office eventually. Yesterday, when we got there were people standing idle, there were others, we had the counters that were empty. But this time around,
of course, they were anxious, so there was a lot of anxiety.
And most of them had, in actual sense, gathered in his office. But this time around, everyone was stationed at where he was supposed to be stationed. Only two people were in his office when he went there. So it appears they are quite calm and they are going about the activities.
Okay. What can we say about other, did you check on other installations and what can you report from there?
I checked the National Health Insurance Authority head office. I also checked that of the YEA as well, the Youth Entrepreneur Agency. And for those two installations, we understand that they were not attacked yesterday. In terms of today, the place is secured. No incident recorded there so far.
This has been going on for a while, and it's been very difficult, I must say, trying to get the police to respond to this. We've tried over and over again to get a police response. I'm wondering, since you went there and you met some of the police personnel, what did they tell you? Did they tell you anything at all?
The point the public relations officer, ASP Fiatinge, that's for Greater Accra Region, the point she made was that in terms of their way of operation, she needs to receive reports from the various district commanders. And as it stands, the incidents are in different districts. So she, as at the regional headquarters, she has no clear understanding of how everything has panned out. It's only the media reports that they are aware of, and they cannot go ahead and speak on a matter that the district commander has not reported to them at the region. So we have to hold on a bit. Once she gets that report, she'll be in a position to speak from a position of authority.
I see. Well, we'll say a very big thank you to you, but maybe you may just have to stay a little longer with me. I've got John Boydru on the line. Hello? Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for your time here on the Pulse. I believe that you follow the situation. There are a lot of reports of persons who are identified mostly as NPP supporters who are carrying out or perpetuating these acts of violence. What is the party's position on this, and what do you say to these?
Yeah, thank you very much. We've said over and over again that the party has not sanctioned and authorized any group of people to take over any installation whatsoever in this country. We've not sanctioned anybody. It comes as a result of our inability as a nation to resolve some of these things when it comes up. You know, as a result, if you remember 2009, when the NDC won power, there were people whose assets and properties were taken over from them. There was no lasting effort and solution to these things that were done. And as a result, the people have stayed for the past 8 years. Now that there's a change in government, some of them feel that they must go back and take over their assets and property. I think that we must use this to resolve it once and for all. I've spoken to the leadership of our guys that help us in security matters, and they seem to understand the point that we are making. Because some of them that have legal basis for getting back their assets, will help them to do so. You cannot take the law of our country in your own hands. So we've spoken with them, and I think that if the security agencies cooperate with us and do their job as mandated by the law, we will be fine. And I think that that's all that we have now.
If you say that the people who this thing was done or something similar happened in 2009. Yesterday, I spoke to one of your executives who said that there were names that were compiled and that the minority leader then followed up, but nothing was done. So can we confirm that these people carrying out these violent acts are indeed NPP supporters who are, of course, getting back what they think is their due?
No, not necessarily NPP supporters. Some of them were caught in the midst of that behavior of taking over things from people, you understand? And you remember, especially with the Abu Ghraib episode, it happened in the presence of the police. People were killed. No lasting solution was found to it. I think that they did an investigation, but it was not followed through. You understand? People's assets were taken over and all that. And I think that that may inform some of the reasons why we have this too. In some cases, as we speak to some of our people, we realize that there has been a culture over the years that if we don't resolve, will continue to create problems for us. For instance, if you go to the port, there are people, or there used to be people who parade and call themselves people from the national security. They've been operating for God knows when. Just as the NDC lost power, they've all vanished. So our people feel that, oh, the national security people are not available, so we must also fill the void. But if you go into much details, you realize that these were people who were not recruited, they are not on the payroll of the national security, but they've paraded as such over the period to the extent that they've even been accepted by the people there as people coming from national security. I think that we must raise the argument now. We must raise the bar. Let us know what exactly are the causes of these things for us to resolve it once and for all. We don't want in 8 years' time, in 12 years' time, in 20 years' time, there's going to even be a change in government, not even from one party to the other, even from one party presidential candidate or president to another, who will still continue to have these problems if we don't resolve it. So if you are listening to the report, we must be cautious, especially generalizing it as an MPP thing. Yes, we are in power. If we are not very careful, that's why I'm so very concerned about it. You have miscreants getting themselves involved and in the process looting and destroying properties of
not to cut you, but about avoiding generalization. Yesterday, for instance, we saw a group of people get to the passport office in a party-branded vehicle, and they were not, I mean, if looking at them, you know, on the face value is anything to go by, they were not people that you call mere miscreants, but you've got people who came in there, and we've got people who went to the NADMO office saying that they had been sent to take over. And so, you know, avoiding the generalization, these are trends that give us more than enough cause to link them to your party.
If somebody brands a car the colors of Joy FM and inspiration of Joy FM walks to a supermarket and says that I've been sent by Joy FM, won't we ask who sent you? You understand? These simple questions are not asked.
That question was asked actually by the head of NADMO yesterday.
And what was the answer?
And he tells me yesterday when I spoke to him, they told him that their party executive had told them to come over.
Who exactly? If you say party executive.
That's why we're talking to you now. You can help us verify that.
That's why I'm telling you that from the national standpoint, from the national party, we've not sent anybody whatsoever to engage in such activity. But like I told you, it's a culture that has been perpetuated over the years that we've not resolved. And the example I'm giving you is that of the port, where people are paraded as national security operatives over the period. And since they are not available, people thought that, okay, then we also will fill the void.
Should move in. That point I get. But you speak about finding a lasting solution to this problem so that in the next whichever years, depending on how long Ghanaians allow the NPP to stay in office, that we don't see a repetition. At the party level, what are the measures that you've put in place to resolve this, like you say, once and for all?
I hear these stories coming up. I have been contacting various leadership at various levels, having conversations with them, trying to explain to them the situation. Even if we want to even send people as national security operatives at the port, it must be regularized. You understand?
Yeah.
So very soon you are going to see that, especially those who are even saying that they are coming from the NPP side, you see that there will be a stop to it. And it is important that there should be a stop to it, because if not, if we don't take care, you have people who will parade as such, who are not coming from even the organization they are talking about, and use that as a basis to misbehave.
I got
also, again, in this direction, calling on the security agencies to also be up and to it.
Exactly what I was going to come to, sir. We've been trying to get the police to engage us on this, but it's been impossible. You've been engaging them, you tell me. What are they telling you about what they're doing about the situation?
Since it's becoming difficult for them to speak to you, it will be difficult for me.
No, we're not getting through to them. You're not getting through to them.
So let's hear them. Those things that they want to put out there, if they put it out, then we can also speak.
Some of your men identified as members of the Invincible Forces were taken away by the police yesterday at the passport office. Have you arranged for them to be brought back?
I'm not privy to that.
You're not privy to what? That they've been taken, or that?
No, I'm not privy to the fact that some people have been picked by the police.
Yesterday at the passport office?
No, I'm not privy to it.
Okay. I'll just leave it at that, sir. But I will say a very big thank you to you. Thank you very much for your time here on The Pulse. John Boydu is Acting General Secretary of the NPP. They're helping us to, get a few answers. If you did, I hope you did. So let's wrap up with you, Joseph. You've heard what he said. He's not privy to what happened yesterday, apparently. Were there any identifiable, faces there yesterday?
It's just one gentleman, Richard Asante-Yeboah. He is with the party's communication team. I saw him briefly at the place. In fact, I must again say that he was speaking to the guys who were at the premises to move away and leave the place.
Okay, thank you very much. Joseph Akable has been to the Agbogloshi market and as well as the neighborhood there, and has also been to the passport office and bringing us what's happening there. He also checked on the NHIS office here in Accra and also checked on the YEA, the Youth Entrepreneurship Agency. And he says that those two places have not been attacked. We can now speak with Professor Ken Atefa, who is a criminologist. He joins us live now. Hello, Prof. Can I see you now? Okay, it doesn't...
Good afternoon.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good afternoon.
Okay, it's good to have you. I'm sure that you followed the situation and you followed how it's gone. And this, of course, a lot of people have said, it's not new. This is basically part of a vicious cycle, and it just happened to be at this point where we're witnessing it. What, from your point of view, what really is the problem, and why are we seeing this at this time?
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to you and to your listeners and viewers. First of all, you're right. There's nothing new here. This is just a repetition of a vicious cycle of takeovers by hungry, angry individuals parading as foot soldiers. Some of them genuinely serving as foot soldiers, others probably just loafers on, who are getting on a bandwagon effect. We are witnessing a phenomenon that has been an unfortunate feature of our democratic dispensation since 1993, but more particularly since 2000 with takeovers and coming to a most vicious state, I think, in 2008, and then we having a period of recrimination, vengeance, because what underlies the three key principles underlie this phenomenon, in my view. The first is reaping the rewards of politicking. These are people who are seeing them.
It does appear that we have lost Professor Kenati.
Political officers.
Okay, we've got him back. Yes, Prof, go ahead. We lost you briefly, but we've got you back. Please go ahead.
Very well, thank you. I was saying that these are individuals who, I was saying that three principles underpin the phenomenon that we are witnessing. First, a sense of
that looks like a problematic one. Sincere apologies. We'll raise Professor Kenateva back on the line to try and engage him on this particular issue. We're just talking about the story that we're putting through, where it really is about forceful takeovers that have characterized
Can you hear me?
ushering in of the new government. Yes, Prof, I've got you. Go right ahead.
Okay, I'm saying that we're witnessing a phenomenon that has three underpinnings.
Okay.
The first phenomenon is, the first aspect of the phenomenon is the sense of the victor wanting to take the spoils of war, because politics is seen as a means by the ordinary person to self-enrichment. And so people get into political activity because it must bring them immediate personal benefits, not a postponement of gratification, not the general development of the country so that they and their children and their children's children will benefit, but so that they will personally, immediately benefit. And so the spoils of war, the booty must be shared instantly. And that is what we see happening. The second aspect is a sense that they are demanding justice and accountability, and a sense that political institutions are not functioning as well as they ought to. We saw that phenomenon happen in Wa, say in 2010 or thereabouts, when NDC foot soldiers stopped a whole procurement process because they believed that, or at least they claimed, that the process was fraught with corruption and that the winners of the bid were already known to the organizers of the bidding process. That is the second one. The third one is a sense that some people who inflicted acts of injustice on the previous vanquished people must now be punished, and that they have enjoyed far too much. And so they must, the new Ghanaians must come to enjoy. And by the new Ghanaians, I'm talking of this cyclical thing. Every 8 years, or every 8 years, it appears that new Ghanaians emerge on the scene. They are the victors, and the vanquished go into oblivion until, if they are lucky, they win 8 years later, and then they come back. And those who are less equipped with formal education and employable skills tend to be the ones who are most prone to engage in these kinds of actions, which also shows the critical interconnections between getting the benefits of politics. Those who get the best benefits are those who are well educated, have trained skills, employable skills, can be appointed to ministerial, deputy ministerial, ambassadorial, and other related high offices. Those who cannot get the white collar, higher level formal employment are defined as foot soldiers, and they are in the trenches, and what they want is immediacy. Right. The imperative is immediacy, and we need to contain those. And of course, the final thing that it reflects is a breakdown of law enforcement.
Right.
I think we have seen too much police indolence in this country when it comes to so-called political crimes.
So, Doc, what are the possible long-term implications of such a cycle that obviously does us no good? from a criminologist's perspective, long-term implications will be?
Well, the long-term implication is what we have seen now, and I hope that it doesn't go beyond today. I mean, beyond this week, preferably. I mean, in terms of my hope, because the long-term has been, as I indicated, since 2000. For the last 16 years, we've gone through these 2 cycles of recrimination and the rest of them. Now, the new president of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has indicated his commitment to the rule of law. He has indicated that the law must apply equally to all Ghanaians. He has emphasized his belief in discipline, and that discipline will be for all Ghanaians. And for all Ghanaians means that NPP foot soldiers must also be reined in and must conduct themselves in accordance with the principles of civility and decency. And that the law enforcement agencies would also wake up and refuse to turn a blind eye to criminality by any group of persons, regardless of their political color. If we can do that, and we can manage the expectations of these foot soldiers, and government will also do what it has promised to manage the economy such that people will not link their future economic prospects directly to the apron strings, of the government that wins, the party that wins political power. Then in 8 years from now, in 20 or 30 or whatever years from now, whenever there is a political change, that this phenomena would be a bygone thing of the past, that we will not see it happen.
Well, hopefully we don't. Hopefully
to get to that destination, law must work.
Hopefully we won't see that happen again. But what is your own assessment of how leadership of whichever party has responded to this? Now we do know that there's a new government. Of course, the government, the president is yet to name the people that he's going to be working with. And so yesterday, for instance, when we spoke with the NADMO boss, he said that he did not know who to work with, who to go to, or who, usually there will be someone coming with a letter to say, we're told to replace you, but there's nothing like that at the moment. What is your own assessment of the response that we've had on this situation from the political leadership as well?
Well, I have only heard Mr. Samia Awuku, the NPP National Youth Organizer, and I have also heard Mr. John Boadu, the acting party general secretary, speak to you most recently on this issue. I think that their responses are apt. They are calling on their supporters to enjoy themselves in moderation, and to also temper that moderation with common sense.